Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to stop living in fear and things I did to just train my mind to be abundant, more fearless, more confident, and just live in the flow of life. Okay, the first thing, which is honestly kind of one of the scariest, is learn to take big risks in life, big leaps of faith. Just do, I don't want to say do more scary things, but if you have like a gut feeling about, oh my God, I need to leave this job, I need to do this, I need to move to this country, I need to do this, like when you have like such a feeling of like, oh, I feel like I need to do this for myself, it's really, really scary, but I know that I need to do this. That's whenever you have the chance to basically take a leap of faith, do it, because one, when you are taking a big leap of faith, like you are allowing yourself to not only be more successful, but like go farther in life, right? Because you're not playing life safe. Because by moving jobs, by moving countries, by moving industries, you're taking the quote unquote risky route, but that's the more abundant route, right? Because most people, they stay scared, they stay the same. They're like, I've been in this job for like too many years, it's too scary, what am I gonna do? And you're holding yourself back and you're making your life so much smaller than it needs to be. But when you take like a big risk or a big leap of faith, you're making your life this much bigger. And like when you successfully take a big risk, you're reinstating in yourself and in the universe that, wow, one, things do work out for me. Two, I can do scary things and I can take big risks. I'm capable of that. And three, and probably the most important thing is that you're always going to be okay. Like the universe is on your side, God is on your side. And the more quote unquote risks you take or like gut decisions or scary things that you do and you end up being okay, the more that you're instating in your head that, oh my God, I'm going to be fine. I have God, source, the universe protecting me, looking out for me. I just need to trust my instincts. Like I shouldn't make myself smaller. I shouldn't make my life smaller. I should be doing bigger things, better things, because I know if I jump, someone there is going to catch me. And you only can have that belief by like feeling it and by having the lived experience. So if you have something that you've been wanting to do, that you just feel called to do, and you just think it's scary, jump, because you're going to land on the other side on your 2 feet and you're going to be like, what was I so scared about? There's this one quote by Layla Hormozi. She always says it: fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. Like when before you do something, it seems so big and so scary and you hype it up in your head. And the more that you get in your head, the scarier and bigger it gets. And the more you lose touch of reality, because the reality is the fear is actually an inch deep. Like it's not that scary. Once you jump, you're like, oh, I should have done this a while ago. This was the right decision. And you only learn that by doing it. Like you can't think your way out of fear, like you just got to do it. Other thing, I actually also learned this from Layla Hormozi, but she has something called fear goals because she's super into self-development. And she's just like, I choose 2 or 3 things or 1 or 2 things every single quarter and I tackle them, things that I'm afraid of. And I think that's such a good idea because it's like fear is the only thing that's really holding anyone back. Like it's the only thing that's getting in your way of living abundantly, living really fiercely, really living big. And it's like everyone has fears. That's normal. That's part of the human experience. But learning to just have exposure therapy and face them one at a time is just going to make you a stronger person, a better person, a more confident, courageous person. And I love that. Just choosing one thing every 3 months to tackle and do because you're afraid, whether you're afraid of starting a new job, whether you're afraid of putting yourself online, whether you're afraid of being in a relationship, whatever it is, just choosing one thing every 3 months to tackle, that's going to get you so far in life because most people are not that intentional about themselves, about their desires, about their goals. So just putting intentionality on what are you truly afraid of and just facing it is just, sounds simple, but I think that's life-changing information. Other thing is fear just clouds your judgment and it like removes you from the sense of reality, right? Because fear triggers your amygdala and it triggers your fight or flight. So you're not thinking logically anymore. And so it's hard to live out of fear or to make good choices when you're living in fear. So something I always ask myself is like, if you're in a decision or you have 2 choices to make, and I ask myself, what would I do if I knew that I would succeed? Or what would I do? What is my most abundant choice? And it's probably pretty clear what you should be doing. And so I always ask myself, what is my most abundant choice right now? If I had no fear, what would I do? And I just do that. But it's like you can't think of that very clearly when you're in fear because you're just so consumed by your emotions. Like I said, you're in fight or flight, your amygdala and your like literal instincts of like fear are just like on. So I just sort of snap myself out of that. Always ask myself, what would my most abundant self do right now? And I just do that. Like that's such a cheat code. That's a cheat code for anything. If you want to be more self-loving, if you want to respect yourself more, if you want to be more courageous, you ask yourself, what would the version of myself who loves myself do? What would the version of myself who is courageous do? What would the version of myself who respects herself do? And then you just make those choices. It's super easy to make choices when you're not attached to the outcome, when you're not feeling the emotions. And like, yeah, asking yourself a question like that just detaches you, and it makes whatever decision that you're in so much clearer of what you should do. Other thing I did is because like fear is just such a strong emotion and it's super hard to tackle logically and to like get rid of. But something that really helps me is just talking to my inner child, because your inner child is like controlling your whole entire reality. It's controlling your triggers, your emotions, and literally it's controlling your adult self, right? Because as adults, we're just playing out the triggers and woundings and like fears and belief systems of like our inner child. And so to get to the root of any fear, or if you want to undo a fear, if you're afraid of bears or money or whatever it is, start talking to your inner child and be like, hey, how's it going? Why are you afraid of this? Is it okay for you to like, you know, let go of this fear? Or what would you need to let go of this fear? And you literally give your inner child what it needs, whether if it's a hug, whether it's an ear to cry on, food, whatever it is. You need to comfort your inner child out of the fear, okay? Because your inner child is like controlling your whole psyche, right? Literally, it's your whole entire psyche. So when you start talking to it and you start healing it and feeding it and nurturing it, and you tell your inner child, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, you know, it's really going to help us and like our adult selves. What would it take for you to get rid of the fear of failure, or the fear of relationships, or the fear of money, whatever it is? And you just ask your inner child, can you please let this go? And you can literally, if they say yeah, release the energy of that fear. I know this sounds so woo-woo, but energy is a thing, and you have all your fears like energetically just stuck in your body, in your consciousness. So when you ask your inner child, hey, can you let go of this fear? Once you start working with it and nurturing it, your inner child will actually let go of that fear, and you'll notice like in your adult self, you're going to be way less afraid of this. Okay, another thing is, this is kind of like the opposite, but if fear is like really, really controlling you, learn to not only face it, but like sit in the fear. Like you have to ask yourself, like, worst case scenario, what's going to happen if you go for that job? Worst case scenario, what's going to happen if you are in that relationship? Worst case scenario, whatever scenario you're in, you have to actually sit in the fear and think logically. If I do this, what is the worst case scenario? Like think logically. If I take this new job, if I switch industries, what is the worst case? And then you can ask yourself, okay, and then what happens? And then what happens? And then what happens? Like you have to keep on asking yourself, what is going to happen if you realistically take this choice? And you'll realize 9 times out of 10, it's like you're going to survive. It's not that deep. We just make it so deep because of our emotions and our feelings, and it just clouds our judgment. The last thing I was going to say is start living around people who are actually fearless, because you pick up on the energies and of the people around you. You pick up on their habits, on their thought patterns, on the way they view life, right? So if you are around a bunch of people who are just not risk takers, they're not doing anything with their lives, they're super scared, they're playing it safe, then you're going to end up being like that. So if you're around, if you can find people who are really confident, who are doing things with their life, who are fearless, who are not afraid to pursue their dreams, you're going to be like that person. Like you're going to pick up on their energy, like because energy is so strong like that. And it's kind of like when when there's like a bunch of candles, or one domino, and one domino falls, a bunch of the other ones falls. That's how it is when it comes to picking up people's power or their confidence or their energy. It only takes one person to be super confident, super fearless, super bright, for another person to realize, wow, if that person is doing that, then I can do it. And you will just like kind of just absorb their energy. So be around people that you admire, who are confident, who are fearless, who are bold, who are courageous, because you're going to end up having that energy too. And yeah, I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.